In 2026, something no one saw coming just happened. Republicans are teaming up with Democrats to stop President Trump from going to war against NATO. That's right, the very allies America has spent decades building trust with. But here's the shocking twist. The president is threatening to take military action against one of those countries, Greenland. You might think this is just a bizarre footnote in history, but what if I told you it's a dangerous pivot that could reshape global alliances forever? This isn't just about Greenland. It's about a battle for America's role in the world. And the worst part? It's happening right now, and you're about to find out exactly why it matters. Stick around, because this is where things start to get very, very serious. Now, you might be wondering, how did we get here? How did the unthinkable become a reality? Republicans and Democrats who rarely see eye to eye, now teaming up to stop Trump from taking action against NATO. This isn't some isolated incident. It's part of a larger, increasingly dangerous pattern. For years, Trump has been openly critical of NATO, dismissing it, even undermining it at every turn. But this is different. Threatening one of the most crucial alliances America has ever had isn't just reckless. It's the kind of move that could send shockwaves through global security. And here's the real question. If America turns its back on NATO, what's next? What happens when the world's strongest military power fractures its alliances? Stick with me, because what's coming next will make you rethink everything you thought you knew about global politics. Here's the thing. This isn't just talk. The proof is in the legislation now moving through Congress. Republican Congressman Don Bacon has teamed up with Democrats to introduce the Stop the Funding of the NATO Invasion Act. And no, this is not some obscure bill. It's a direct response to Trump's alarming threats toward Greenland. What's worse, this bill targets something far more powerful than words: money. If this bill passes, it will block any federal funds from being used for military action in Greenland, effectively halting Trump's plan before it even begins. Think about it. For all the chaos and noise, it might come down to a few lines in a bill that cuts off funding. Notice what's missing, though. Trump's push to act alone, with little regard for Congress or NATO, could be legally stopped without a single shot being fired. But here's the real question. Will Congress follow through? And what happens if they don't? And this is where it starts to escalate. We've seen this before in smaller ways. Presidents pushing the boundaries of their power, taking actions that could break long-standing alliances. But what's happening here is on a different scale. Remember how World War I began? It wasn't one big event, but a series of escalating tensions, one misstep after another. That's the risk we're facing now. Trump's move against NATO could trigger a similar domino effect. And here's the most chilling part. This isn't just about Greenland. This is about sending a signal to the world. If NATO fractures, if America turns its back on its allies, it could embolden adversaries like Russia and China, showing them that they can push the U.S. without consequence. That's where this is headed unless something changes. And fast. But notice this. Trump's actions could very well be normalizing something that should never be normal. Dismantling the very alliances that have kept the world stable since World War II. This isn't just dangerous, it's unprecedented. The situation is getting even worse. It's not just a bill anymore. Now we're talking about legal consequences for anyone who dares follow Trump's orders. And here's the kicker. It's not just politicians talking. The military is getting involved too. The new bill makes it clear any officer who carries out military action in Greenland would be breaking the law. Let that sink in. We're not just looking at political disagreements anymore. If this bill passes, it could make military orders illegal. That's a direct challenge to Trump's power. This is where it gets even more unsettling. The bill gives anyone the authority to enforce this new law, which means it's no longer just up to Congress to act. Anybody can step in and stop this from happening. This is where it gets personal, not just a war of words, but a real legal battle over the future of American foreign policy. If this passes, it's game-changing. And Trump's military ambitions, they'd be at a standstill. The clock is ticking, and things are spiraling faster than anyone expected. First, we have the bill that could block funding for military action in Greenland. Then we have military officers being told that following Trump's orders could land them in legal trouble. But that's not all. The Pentagon is now investigating the legality of Senator Mark Kelly's public message to military officers, warning them against illegal orders. And just when you thought it couldn't get more intense, the bill also includes a clause making it clear that military officers could face consequences for following orders they know to be unlawful. The pressure is mounting from all sides. legally, politically, and militarily. What happens if this continues? What happens if this conflict escalates further? With both political and military forces now moving to stop Trump's push, this is rapidly becoming a showdown that could redefine America's role in the world. The stakes have never been higher. Now let's zoom out for a moment. This isn't just about politics or military strategy. It's about you, because if things keep heading down this path, it's not just the politicians who will be affected. It's ordinary people like you who could feel the impact. Think about the kind of world we'd live in if America cuts ties with its allies, if the global stability that we've taken for granted starts to crack. Trade relationships could falter, the economy could take a hit, and security could become a real concern. Every action, every decision made by our leaders has consequences far beyond Washington, D.C. And if this shift in foreign policy continues, it could change how we all live. The world you know could start to look very different. If this feels familiar, say so in the comments, because the consequences are coming for all of us, whether we realize it or not. Here's the deeper truth that nobody's talking about. It's not just Trump. It's the system that allows him to act this way. Think about it. Why is it so easy for one person to make these kinds of threats? It's all about leverage. Power structures are set up in a way that allows certain people, like the president, to push the envelope without facing immediate consequences. Trump's threats aren't just a sign of personal ambition. They're a symptom of a system that lets leaders operate with near unchecked power. And it's not just Trump. For years, we've been seeing a steady erosion of our alliances, of our international standing. It's easy to say it's one man's fault, but the truth is, this system is built to reward spectacle and fear. If you can scare people, you can make them listen. And that's exactly what's happening here. This isn't just about one administration. It's a pattern that's been forming for years, and it might be too late to reverse it. Now, let's look ahead. The path forward is split, and neither option is clear-cut. On one hand, we could see a major pushback from Congress, from military leaders, from even the American people. If the bill passes, it could halt Trump's military ambitions in Greenland and send a strong message to the rest of the world. The U.S. isn't going to break its alliances, not on this scale. But there's another path, one where the chaos continues. If Trump succeeds in bypassing Congress and military resistance, the foundation of NATO could be cracked. If that happens, expect a shift in global power dynamics. Russia, China, Iran could all make their moves, seeing a weakened America as a golden opportunity. The risk? A world with less stability and more tension. The worst part? Neither of these paths are guaranteed, and the momentum is already building toward one of them. What happens next could be out of our hands. So, what does this all mean? At the heart of this crisis is more than just a fight over military action. It's about the very future of America's global influence. If we turn our backs on NATO, what does that say about our commitment to the rest of the world? What happens to the alliances that have kept us secure for decades? This story isn't over. It's just the beginning. Every move from here on out will shape the future of global politics. And the scariest part? We might not have much control over which path we end up on. So if you want to stay ahead of what's coming next, make sure you're following for more deep dives like this one. The next chapter is already unfolding, and you won't want to miss it.